The IORA Cup Series goes across the world for the first time in Season 6. You might have not ever seen this track before on iRacing, but one of the newest circuits on the virtual tour is the home for race number 9 on the Season 6 schedule. Welcome back to Germany for the Oschersleben Grand Prix. We're at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, and it's a time where not often we get a chance to go road course racing multiple times in the IORA Cup Series, but down the stretch with only 2 races remaining in the regular season, this event is critical. Points picture is shaping up big time, and the championship contenders like Mosteller, Page, Thurston, and company are running away, leaving those a little bit further down the totem pole with much to scramble for. They'll fight tonight as they go twisting and turning for 40 laps. Welcome back, as always, live on FTN to exclusive flag-to-flag coverage of the IORA Cup Series. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, and David Kreutz commentating and producing, and it's great to return to a little bit of an unfamiliar venue. A lot of the time, most of this year, we've gone to tracks we've visited more than once in IORA's history. That's not the case for this track. Road course racing usually comes down to a few familiar tracks like Watkins Glen or the Charlotte Roval. We've decided instead to push beyond the comfort zone as qualifying is on the way, and tonight, as you can see, it is group qualifying. Drivers are all on the track at the same time, so not going to be an easy qualifying session by any means, but so far, with 2 minutes left on the clock, Jim Thurston has set the fast time with a 1:31.011. Looks like he's going to be ahead by 1/10 of a second over Aiden Walker, and River Page will then be position number 3 in the number 24. There's River. He's just behind Aiden Walker as he's going to go right beside him if, of course, he can make that pass. It's going to be red, white, and blue colored for Aiden Walker, although he's no longer in the United States. We'll return there next week for our regular season finale. A lot on the line for a few drivers, Aiden, one of which who should be able to comfortably make it into the playoff picture. Now, look further back. We have a rookie in the number 1. That is Elijah Innes, making his first career start. And good to see yet another young driver making it to the table here, brand new for the first time in his Cup Series career. Elijah taking to the track and currently finds himself position number 5 in the qualifying shakedown. So, not running bad by any means, maybe something to look out for this rookie inside the number 1 Chevrolet Camaro. You got Nathan Palawada right now, who is in 6th on pit road. Daniel Mosteller is still going along the way, and already Daniel Mosteller 2 wins on the season and has been the best driver so far by all accounts. The 2-time former champion has gotten himself back to his winning ways and leads the championship hunt going into the Oschersleben tonight. I think he's going to be one to look out for, maybe to be a little bit of a spoiler. Last year, the Charlotte Roval, or last season, shall we say, Daniel Mosteller able to take the checkered flag in the twists and turns in Charlotte by virtue of a last lap pass on Jim Thurston. A substantial upset, but Demos might have the pace to walk through the field as the night goes on. Nevertheless, fast time will be set, and the pole position will go to the number 96. Jim Thurston, 2 minutes remaining. Some other drivers will get their final laps in, but as Thurston comes across the line, it looks like his qualifying run is over with the fast time, a 1:31.0 so far. Aiden Walker might be next up to come across the line with River Page. Take a look on board now with the number 24. It looks like River was not satisfied with his qualifying run. He's going to plow it right into the outside barrier. Aiden Walker, though, will finish his lap, and this lap time going to be a good one at that. 1:31.487. That's good enough for what would be 4th on the qualifying order. However, it looks like Aiden is going to find himself incapable of passing Jim Thurston. Demos gets up to 3rd. Elijah Innes now heads down to pit road, and he's going to call it. And Michael Deitch now, the final driver to come down to pit road. Looks like with that being said, qualifying is over. Every driver's put in an attempt, and the last of which, Michael Deitch, will make his way through to pit road. Jim Thurston's still going to be on the circuit, and he does have that fast time, a 1:31.011. The overall lap speed coming in at 88.72 miles an hour. Thurston now going to call it into pit road as well, and that will officially conclude qualifying tonight. As Thurston goes beyond the camera range here, pit road going to be busy, and you can see sweeping back and forth. The unfamiliarity of this circuit is going to be the most tricky part for drivers tonight. Even if this is a road course in many ways like Watkins Glen or those that they're familiar with, you don't quite know how it races unless you get significant practice time. Drivers have gotten just about 35-40 consecutive minutes on the track, but it takes a lot longer time to really master a circuit of this nature. And so, in the final seconds of qualifying, it is official. Jim Thurston collects the checkered flag, and the pole position comes with him. And so, the track is empty once again. Taking a look atop the hills here in Germany, it's not a track we've ever been to before, and the unfamiliarity makes it all the more exciting. Drivers are now going to line up for the first time on the starting grid in the Oschersleben Grand Prix. In its very first running, the number 96 of Jim Thurston will capture the pole position. Taking a look at your starting grid, it's going to be Thurston on top, and Aiden Walker is there in second. Third place going to be Daniel Mosteller, all of which championship contenders, including your defending champ and a winner again at the Homestead Miami Speedway, River Page, just last week getting the job done as he finds his way back to victory lane. Then you'll have 6th place Elijah Innes, a rookie, brand new driver, someone to look out for in the future perhaps. Did a great job making it to the top 10 in qualifying and almost the top 5 at that for a brand new driver. Elijah Innes setting the standard. He'll be alongside and accompanied by Joseph Armstrong in the number 22. Nathan Palawada will be in 7th, and Jason Semedo will then be P8, 131. Bubble only going to be hit by 7 drivers. Semedo, the first of which out, and he's more than a second off that marker with a 132.931. Kaloff and Guecci going to be positions 9 and 10. Standing start tonight as we are going to get going. Welcome to Germany. Jim Thurston leads the way. We are underway in the Oschersleben Grand Prix, and the motors roar into turns 1 and 2. Now it's going to be side by side. Walker and Daniel Mosteller going at it. Jim Thurston losing a position, and already Demos with a lunge to get up in front of the field. We're underway. Now let's watch this first lap unfold. Daniel Mosteller going to lead coming out of the final corner here. Welcome back to Germany. We're going to bring you coverage, of course, all throughout the night. Hearing the sights and the sounds, of course, you saw a little bit of Daniel Mosteller lunging in early. 14 turns at this venue. We're going to learn each and every one of which. One driver going to spin, though, and not make it to the end of lap number 1. Back of the field, that looked to be the number 10 of Akari King, and King gets back on the way, but another spin for the 10. Last week, you might remember, Akari getting involved in 2 incidents of a similar nature. Now, King will be back at the field in 18th place. Will keep going, and meanwhile, the battle for second is going to heat up. Jim Thurston lunging as Daniel Mosteller did into the opening sequence of corner. Now the 96, perhaps with the edge through the first 2, and he'll be on his way to set number 2. Inside, still low, maybe bringing the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport driver of River Page with them to no avail so far. Jim Thurston, though, does grab a second back, and we're picking things up right where we left it in Charlotte last year. It looks like now it's going to be Daniel Mosteller leading, and then it'll be Jim Thurston just behind. These two have battled each other for road course victory before, and they're looking ready to do so once again. Notable absences in today's race include former race winners this season and Mike Mitchum and Alexander Balderas, the both of which will not be in this event. Mitchum, the part-time driver by virtue of not showing up tonight, I don't believe he's going to make the minimum participation requirement to enter the playoffs already. He's gotten himself 3 career pole positions and 1 victory. However, Mitchum showing up a little bit late puts himself in a tricky spot to go all the way deeper into the playoff run. Aiden Walker's still going to be in P3 here. Look further back, there's some battles. Jason Semedo going at it with Corey Lyles here. The JFR driver in the 56, his teammate runs now in 11th relative to his 8th. So a little bit of a spread between these two teammates, but there's still a lot of time for them to get together, and hopefully for the sake of the JFR team, it will be in a positive direction. Maybe Aaron Schugel getting back up there to just about where Corey Lyles is. River Page and Aiden Walker are now going to be lockstep, and the pressure that number 24 team has put on has ever increased in the first 3 laps, and it's due to increase even more now that River Page has settled himself in, and we're starting to see those tires warm in. We'll see who has the best stuff when they continue to wear. Last time by, for most of these drivers, it was their fastest lap. Daniel Mosteller clocked his quickest at 132.133, a time that was faster than Jim Thurston's until, of course, his most recent lap as well. 132.065 for Thurston serves as the best lap time on the entire circuit right now, and almost getting into the 131s in race condition. Not easy, but now you're going to see lunging deep. Daniel Mosteller, one mistake, gives up the race lead, and now, as it was to begin, the number 87 is behind, and your pole sitter leads the way. One foul swoop, one error gives Jim Thurston exactly what he wanted, the race lead again. And in a road course, a second lead is really nothing. We talk about how at the oval circuits you can maintain a second lead, you should be good to go, but one mistake, just one small thing, can make 1 second of an advantage become multiple seconds of a disadvantage or deficit. Well, that's exactly what happened there for Daniel Mosteller. Unfortunately for him, he's going to drop back into P2, although he didn't lose anything more. It looked like a braking malfunction, perhaps spotting up the tires and running wide, and as a result, he had to take the inoptimal groove without any banking or camber to sort of save him. You might see, while minimal, a lot of these turns do have a little bit of embankment to them, so if you're on the right groove or inside of the track overall, you should be able to get a much better launch than the drivers around you who make a little bit more of a costly decision in going outside, going wide, not making the right decision. Of course, not a good thing to do, losing that preferred groove. So far, though, given the nature of this track, it's not all too large for a road course's standard. It is well packed in together. Watkins Glen International comes in at about 2.45 miles. This circuit, the Oschersleben, comes in at 2.3 miles with 14 turns. And while it is shorter, and you might notice through the aerial coverage we've given, it is certainly not a big venue. It's very tightly packed in. It does take longer for drivers to navigate the circuit lap after lap. This comes in large part due to slower segments overall, and driver speed would tell you that is indeed the case. If we take a look at the telemetry right now for Jim Thurston, he's dealing with multiple corners that are about as slow as the Watkins Glen bus stop, if not slower. Getting down to 50 miles an hour is unheard of at the Glen unless you have a mechanical failure. Most of the tracks in the United States, very smooth, very well flowing. That is not something that you see oftentimes overseas. That's a little bit of a different perspective, a little bit of a different method of conceiving road courses that is not seen all throughout the United States. And now that we go overseas once again to Germany, as we did the Red Bull Ring, you have to deal with the differences. Not every turn can be smooth and flowing and fast alike. Drivers are dealing with a technicality, and Thurston is switching gears all over, going down to as low as second, and of course jamming it up to fourth gear, the highest he's got. A lot of these corners are taken under 100 miles an hour, and momentum is not built. That's why, even though Daniel Mosteller made a critical mistake, it didn't really ruin his lap, and he has stayed just behind Thurston ever since. He should have a chance now to put himself in line and stay there once again. That's also why Aiden Walker and company have not been able to catch up to him. That's the only thing that where these technical circuits might come to help a driver. Even a slip-up doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose everything. You're definitely going to lose a spot or two, but right now, even being as far back as 1 or 2 seconds behind, it's not going to be good enough to immediately jump over the driver that's in front. A little bit of a battle further on back. Aaron Schugel going to watch as Will Shack slides. Now it looks like Schugel gets away. Shack gets into the gravel, has to let another driver go. That is Xander McKinney. And Xander gets just by. All of a sudden, it looks like Will Shack, facing some struggles, drops back to the 14th place as a result. Will is currently 14th of all those who started tonight, and that's a total of 18 drivers. All 18 are going to be there on the lead lap so far. Michael Deitch might be the first man at risk of going 1 lap down. He started on pit road, and he was there for 23 seconds being held on pit road due to missing the start intentionally. Decided to avoid any potential drama or any potential issues on the start, and luckily for the field, nothing occurs. So we should be able to go clean and green tonight, something that did not happen at Watkins Glen. You might remember that race took a little bit longer than anticipated, largely due to incidents with other drivers. Early racing, first 20 laps were under green, and then the final 20 laps comprised of 3 yellow flags. Will Shack might make for another one. While Xander McKinney gets away, Will Shack gets into the gravel, and a rather dramatic entry into the sand trap for the number 31. Shack falls back. Braxton Whitaker is going to take his spot, and now Will's going to run in 15th as a result of that blunder. Luckily, no major damage. If Will Shack was in any tighter position, that could have been a race ender. However, will keep on going here. 37 seconds back on your race leader, and currently about 3 seconds back on a position in Braxton Whitaker. That could have been significantly worse. It looks like Shack may be struggling with traction so far. Seen him slipping back and forth all over the circuit. Not what you want to do consistently. And maybe now Will Shack has a chance to go down a pit road. That's the chance he will use. He'll head down and in immediately, get himself perhaps a set of clean tires and Goodyear Eagles to reset and load back in for what's next. Jim Thurston and Daniel Mosteller still the closest 2 drivers in the field, and going to that opening circuit, that opening turn where both drivers have swapped the lead already. Daniel Mosteller looking quick, and now he's grabbing a little bit more and more, drawing nearer against the number 96 indeed. Joe Armstrong additionally just decided to go down a pit road according to timing and scoring. Although brief, it looks like Joe is on the way. Might be a technical malfunction because Will Shack did just go down a pit road. That is confirmed. Armstrong, not so much. He might be in a similar position to Michael Deitch. And it looks like right now for Michael, well, he's going to be very far back. The only one further back on him is Will Shack. Will just went 1 lap down. Daniel Mosteller is still a half second back on Jim Thurston. The battle remains about as Loctite as it gets. They'll come across the line for lap number 8, and still Jim Thurston holds the edge. And for all these two have given us so far this season, you might be surprised to know the number 93 that you're looking at on your screen right now is the championship leader by a total of 10 points over River Page. Battle for the championship lead is not between the 96 and 24. At least for now, they're both going to be 3rd and 4th respectively. It's going to be right now Aiden Walker who leads. The reason being he's got 318 points. River Page is 13 back coming into the night. He finds himself with 305, and so 13 deficit to your overall championship leader. However, he is ahead of Daniel Mosteller and Jim Thurston alike. Mosteller is only 1 point behind River Page, so the battle between your top 3 drivers in points comes down to a total of only 16 points. 16 between 1st and 3rd to grab the regular season crown, and Daniel Mosteller with a win today could put himself right within striking distance to not only pass the number 93 of Walker, but secure the regular season title. Matter of fact, I'd say that any one of these drivers who wins tonight will be in the best position to clinch it next week, assuming they all come back and go for top 10 runs once again. That's how important this race is. The victory of the regular season championship is on the line here and now, and if drivers want to capitalize on such a momentous occasion in the season anyhow. They better do it here or get lucky in Talladega. And with Talladega being such a raffle, you can really never guarantee what happens at that venue. I don't think there's going to be many drivers who would like to take that chance. Instead, they'll play it safe and do well tonight, and that's why your top four in the point standings are doing so well today. Meanwhile, Elijah Innes, well, he finds himself in the number 1 tonight, and matter of fact, I'll stand corrected and say we did see Elijah Innes once before. We saw him in Watkins Glen. He's a road course ringer, it looks like, and so far Elijah doing a pretty good job at that. Rookie stripes and all. Innes is in P5 as it stands, about 5 seconds back on your race leaders, the 1, 2, 3, 4 combo. And not only does he play as a playoff spoiler, but as a road course ringer, not a driver these IORA Cup Series guys are used to, but looks like they're getting used to him quite well. He's in his own world, ahead of Palawada and behind Page and company. Looks like he's found that firm middle ground between the front runners of the championship and the guys who are just behind, maybe in the dark horse category, including Nathan Palawada and Henry Kaloff. Kaloff today racing for Kaloff Deitch Racing, 2-driver enterprise. Michael Deitch right now running in 17th. Meanwhile, Henry is running 10 spots higher in P7. For the 213 Simware crew, Henry Kaloff in pink once again this October, commemorating and of course spreading awareness for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, something we've discussed at length on FTN. Tom Wetmore coming away in the number 51 TubeTech Chevrolet in the Octane Series, second in points. And we heard the wonderful news about Wetmore's family with regards to breast cancer, and hundreds of thousands of people all throughout the country, not only those directly diagnosed, but family members and caregivers are affected and impacted by the devastating effect of breast cancer. Here in FTN, a lot of things on this screen you might see are pink. The top with the IORA logo, the number 63 in all of its front, back, and sides. And we talk about it each and every night here during October when we get the chance to highlight a driver. And Henry Kaloff, a perfect example. So is the number 12 of Jason Cimento most often. He's decided to take a little bit of a different approach tonight in the Napa number 12. But a lot of the time here in the IORA Cup Series, you see drivers with commemorative paint schemes during October, raising awareness for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Great to see the sim racing community coming together once again. McKinney almost getting loose and spinning out there. Good for him that he didn't, but getting real dicey as we put our focus again back on the race leaders. About a quarter of the way through so far. Pit road cycle is expected to be a 50-50 split. So, as a result, we're hoping to see a few more drivers maybe make their way into pit road at about the lap number 20 marker, perhaps a little bit longer, perhaps a little bit shorter. Not expecting to see drivers go longer than 25 laps. That is effectively impossible. Given the strategy call tonight and given what we've seen at previous road courses, it is imperative that drivers at least take that into account. 25 laps is not based in reality. What is based in reality is maybe 21 or 22 laps. And if they do that, they'll get a little bit less time on the new tire, but they'll be able to burn through it with a little less regard and less care. And you might think it's a little counterintuitive to say caring less is good, but in this case, it actually is a good thing. Aiden Walker now coming up on Jim Thurston, so we might have ourselves a battle here for the second spot. We'll talk more at length about tires as soon as we figure out what's going on. Top four now separated by only 2 seconds. Elijah Innes additionally has closed in a little bit of ground. He's made it back within 5 seconds once again. Looks like the fast get faster and the slow get slower. That's how it tends to go to a road course anyway. If you're comfortable with your car, you don't lose as much speed. Even as the tires begin to wear out and gets harder to put those quick laps in, Daniel Mosteller leading once again has aced it. These two have swapped spot many a time already, and Demos once again has the advantage. His last lap was a 134.868 relative to Jim Thurston with a 135.778. Both of their fastest laps were 3 seconds quicker than their respective recents. Goes to show tire wear is eating at these drivers. It's going to do so all night long. We've just gotten word that Chase Schaefer has connected to the session. He might be able to be your 19th starter on the day, and you saw him join the timing ticker. That's because they're going to roll out that 99 any moment now, maybe just to putter around and get some extra points. Coming through, there's the number 91, Aaron Schugel, and we mentioned it, now it looks like the JFR guys are together in 10th and 11th respectively. Schugel now has the advantage, and Corey Lyles finds himself a little bit further back, maybe more than he'd want to be, as Aiden Walker continues the pursuit on Jim Thurston here. Take a look on board with the 93. And sending it deep now, it looks like Aiden Walker's got room on Thurston to make it a side-by-side fight. And as quick as it came, it went. Aiden Walker now gets up to the runner-up position. And Walker looking good to take P2, if not better, once again. Let's talk a little bit more about what Aiden Walker's doing, because it relates in part to our initial goals, of course, of seeing drivers make their way through with a little less concern about tire. Now we're coming up to the second half of this stint, which means pit road is inevitable, and it's coming very soon. Maybe drivers decided to wait for that first half, see what's going on from there, and then push hard. Someone like Daniel Mosteller has been in cruise control for the majority of the night, didn't seem to be all too concerned nor phased with what just happened. Of course, in losing the race lead, some 5 laps to go, only to take it back once again. I don't think he's all too concerned about Aiden Walker either. Mosteller's a different case, but something about someone like Jim Thurston, someone who had to push a little bit harder to get the race lead back. He started on the pole position, but, well, we saw that pole position was taken away in a flash. It's not guaranteed you maintain the spots you are given in qualifying. Matter of fact, there's ample incentive to look right beyond someone. Thurston, looking behind him, might see River Page once again. Power Smash Infinity Speed drivers coming through once more. 13 laps in out of 40. So far, River Page is getting there. Maybe a chance to get inside the podium, but River so far has had a solid first portion of the season. Maybe not the best driver by any means, but the defending champion has as of late come in stride. It's fantastic to see a little bit more coming out of River Page as he tries to go for the championship defense round. Sean Conklin, Jim Thurston, and River Page have one thing in common, something that River Page, of course, knows, and all of them know. They know a championship, but unlike Daniel Mosteller, they have not yet been able to make it happen and go for back-to-back titles. Sean Conklin does not look interested in defending his former IORA Cup Series championship, and looks like Michael Deitch does not look interested in giving River Page any room. It looks like the number 24 team is getting a little bit landlocked here. Michael Deitch serving as a little bit of a roadblock, and he'll have to send Michael across the gravel to get away from him. Deitch is going to be sent through. River Page is going to lose a little bit of time here, and as a result, River now finds himself more than 2 seconds back on a battle he was once right within. He will not be happy about that one, that is for certain. And Jim Thurston now is going to break away, as does the number 87 of Daniel Mosteller. And of course, Aiden Walker, who finds himself smack in the middle here. 14 laps in, he's broken up about 2 seconds to the negative on Daniel Mosteller. He's put a second up to the positive relative to the number 96. So Jim Thurston here finds himself behind. Aiden Walker's the happy medium, and Daniel Mosteller is the even happier race leader. He'll put Akari King 1 lap down, and Chase Schaefer is currently 10 laps down. And we mentioned it, they would have to put this 99 team on the road. The 2-time winner is back on track, but with no chance to win tonight. Unfortunately for Chase Schaefer, sometimes that's just how it goes. And it looks like right now, he's in a position where just going to go out there and try to gain some extra points. Not the easiest thing to do for a driver, not when it comes to going out there and just driving around the track back and forth. That is quite simple. But when it comes down to, of course, putting yourself in the mentality to say this is meaningful, that's even harder. Unfortunately for Chase Schaefer, it's not going to be easy for him to make up spots. A few drivers have retired. It looks like Xander McKinney, Andres Varas, Will Shack, they all have. Maybe someone like Akari King would be up next, who's already 1 lap down. But for Chase Schaefer, it's not going to take him any short period of time to keep making up these spots. He'll have to go for the next 20 some laps if he wants any chance to conceivably make up these spots as the race goes on. He might not even be able to make up every spot because some lappers will retire at an interval where they're still 9 or 10 laps ahead with something like 7 laps to go. It will simply not be possible for Chase Schaefer to fully recover position tonight, but he'll be able to get just a few spots, just enough where it matters, and maybe someone like Vincent Guecci feels in a little bit of a similar spot. Usually we see Vincent up there fighting for the top 5. Tonight he's admittedly struggling. He finds himself in 12th and is trying to get back up to the JFR pair, which lies just ahead. And Vincent Guecci, perhaps not the strongest road racer. We saw him up in front at Watkins Glen by virtue largely of strategy, which is not a bad thing by any means, but Watkins Glen, it's a time-tested venue. The Oschersleben, especially on iRacing, is the antithesis of that mentality. You're going in almost blind if you're a driver here. Maybe you have practice, but it's not like Watkins Glen where drivers are given years of exposure to the track. This is brand new for stock car. Oh, the teammates collect each other. Oh, Corey Lyles and Aaron Schugel. Can you believe it? Teammates contact. And it looks like Corey Lyles will just drive away. JFR contact with one another, and they look to get away with even more damage. The URP 91 was already beaten up, but Corey Lyles, he's going to drive through, plow the 91 out the way, and JFR duo, well, it looks like they're facing a few more internal struggles, if anything else. All the while, we got Elijah Innes and Joe Armstrong battling. Looks like that battle just concluded. Advantage Joe Armstrong. Take a look back to that fight. Corey Lyles and Aaron Schugel, and talk about a punt into the corner. And the 91 was sent sliding. Take a look with a little bit more of that extended replay footage, and we'll show you just what happened between these two once again. And I can only imagine he didn't anticipate that Schugel would break so early. But Corey Lyles is not going to be all too regretful. He will get away. Aaron Schugel will have to keep going as well. Now the two are 11th and 12th in just a different order. Unfortunately for Aaron, it means no longer will he be battling with his teammate. No longer will he have anyone to battle with. We'll take a look back up into the middle of the pack once again. It looks like Elijah Innes coming up on another lapper. That is not a lapper, as a matter of fact. That is Nathan Palawada. Nathan going to be in a special paint scheme today as we go to Germany. You can see that German flag will be on the side of the number 78 team. Usually you see Nathan Palawada decked out in purple. Not the case tonight. And it looks like the Pallerwood number 78 team has decided to go for a beaming yellow. And it looks like the outline of Germany right alongside it. Nice to see some national schemes tonight. Aiden Walker bringing one for the United States. Looks like Germany getting their representation as well with the number 78 team. Elijah Innes getting passed by Palawada. And it looks like now Elijah maybe sliding lack a little bit further. Nothing too detrimental so far, but perhaps an indicator that the veterans again hold control. Elijah Innes P7, Henry Kaloff P8, Jason Cemento in the number 9 spot, and then you got now P10, Corey Lyles. Looks like Aaron Schugel has been kept in 12th. Vincent Guecci, however, gets up to 11th here, and it looks like Schugel now going to have a lot more trouble putting up some competitive lap times, shaking back and forth. You can see that car not in good shape, but good enough to continue on and at least get to the first pit cycle, where we'll figure out what the remainder of strategy will end up looking like. Chase Schaefer is expected to make his first pass this time by. Schaefer, who was 10 laps down, is coming up on Will Shack, who is also 10 laps down. And as a result, we're going to see the number 99 team move up to 18th place, which is going to be the highest spot he's been in all night long. But by virtue of missing the first 10 laps, yeah, Schaefer's definitely at a huge deficit. Matter of fact, Chase set the fastest lap of the race so far, which is surprising given the fact he did not go through practice or qualifying, and yet the number 91 might be one of the fastest guys on the circuit. Very interesting to see. All of a sudden, Chase Schaefer might be one of those drivers to look out for. Best 2 laps he put down in the 131 bracket on average. He got down to the 131.9 range. So keep an eye out here for Chase Schaefer. He might have a chance, and while he has not led a lap so far, likely he won't all day. He's got quick speeds, and that's intriguing to look out for. Perhaps a little bit better at Chase Schaefer, as he just made his way up to 18th, and he's one of the quickest drivers still to be on the circuit. Vincent Guecci and Aaron Schugel getting close to each other once again. Vincent going to be just ahead, about a second's worth. Nothing too crazy when it comes to an advantage, but you could see some internet troubles there for the number 91. Vincent's still going to lie just a few tenths up. Corey Lyles is going to be looking back now. It looks like the number 56 team finds itself in the rear view, and a little bit of an order swap. The JFR driver struggling with that control under the cockpit, and it looks like Corey, you can see, almost drifting through some of these corners once again. He's going to drift up and down the circuit, but he's kept himself good on the curbs, sliding through the gravel, something you do not want to have happen. Will Shack had quite the extravagant incident earlier on, about 10 laps to go. But now we're 18 laps in out of 40. We made it closer to the halfway point than anything. And now Guecci and Schugel go side by side. Advantage is Aaron Schugel. Aaron going to get back up inside the top 10, finding himself 10th. It's been an up and down night for the JFR crew, and Aaron Schugel is once again the flagship man. Currently, he's going to be in 10th, as we see on your screen. It's the highest spot he's been in all night. 11th place is going to be where he started, as low as 13th. Been a very constant race, although Schugel with another issue and another mistake. And talk about the inconsistent consistencies. Vincent Guecci, and he makes it back quickly, returns to 10th place. Aaron Schugel fades back to 11th again, and meanwhile Corey Lyles is watching. So long as he hangs on here and continues just behind the number 91, I think he's going to be in a real good spot when it comes to just having a chance at the top 10. Might not be guaranteed yet, but it is still very likely Corey Lyles gets himself up in the mix. 19 laps in out of 40. Daniel Mosteller is still leading. Pit road is inevitable for all those in the field, and that'll be coming very soon as we go beyond the realm of the halfway range at lap number 20. 20 laps out of 40. We're coming up on it soon, and one of the longer venues on the IORA Cup Series schedule. Next week we go to Talladega, but later tonight we'll be going short track racing once again with the Highline Racing League. Heat racing is going to come back into play tonight with the Highline Racing League's short track swing. It will be the third and final short track on the calendar, and we'll have an off week next week in the Highline Racing League for Halloween. So to end the first stretch of the campaign on a good note, we'll see what goes on for championship leader Alan Kudman and All Racing Company as we go live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern later tonight. If you'd like to check that out, scan the QR code that is now on your screen to stay up to date with the FTN broadcasting community, or scan the links and click the links in the description below. Brent, of course, broadcasting, FTN broadcasting, providing free quality content from Monday to Sunday and every day in between. And with the Highline Racing League and IORA Cup Series always at back-to-back, your Thursday nights are fully covered on this network. Xfinity Series racing with some of the best drivers on the market and some of the best in the business who have done it with each other for more than a decade. IORA Cup Series and the Highline Racing League are two different exciting flavors of the same virtual motorsport package. And if you'd like to enjoy them together, stay with us all night long. 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time for the IORA Cup Series, 9:30 p.m. Eastern start time for the Highline Racing League. We'd love to see more, of course, what's going on with those two series in the coming months until we finish off our 2024 broadcasting tenure. 20 laps in out of 40. Daniel Mosteller about a second and a half up on Aiden Walker. Then you got P3 and Jim Thurston. Fourth and River Page. Fifth place is currently Joseph Armstrong, and that's about the best that Armstrong's looked to get up beyond the confines of just fifth. Maybe now a chance to break into the fight for fourth with River Page only about 0.6 of a second up this time around. And so as the two chase each other once again, Daniel Mosteller comes across the line for lap number 21. And interestingly enough, he will not go down to pit road. Take a look at the pit stop counter here to see who's just gone in. Michael Deitch, Akari King, Xander McKinney, Chase Schaefer, the only drivers to occupy pit road all night long, including Schaefer, of course, who decided to start the race 10 laps on pit road and came back out to the circuit nevertheless. So it looks like with a little bit of shuffling, Jim Thurston's going to find himself himself into pit road, and he'll go with his Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport teammate in River Page. Two drivers that send themselves down immediately together are going to decide to go for the same strategy call. So PSISM, the Bazism duo, is in for the first pit stops of the night on the green. Daniel Mosteller has been able to lead most of the way so far, accumulating a total of 13 laps led out of 21 to this point. Next time by, it'll be lap number 22 out of 40. So, as always, live on FTN, we'd like to crank it up with our partners in camera development at TrackCams22.com. The best cameras in the sim racing market have been TrackCam22.com's pride and joy in creating for more than 5 years. Visit TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams for additional information in leveling up your camera game. The track and car cameras you see on FTN night after night are developed and curated by Track Cams for Gourmets, and there's no better alternative. The best broadcasters use the best cameras, and for good reason. Once again, TrackCams22.com, live on FTN. We're heading to lap number 22 right now, and as soon as Daniel Mosteller crosses that start-finish line, looks like he'll be due to down on pit road. We can get things going once again and crank it up here from the Oschersleben Grand Prix. Pit strategy is now going to be very precise and intricate as drivers go in 22 laps into the run, halfway down, halfway to go, and let's crank it up now from the German circuit. You're watching IORA at the Oschersleben. Let's now get live and loud overseas. Battle continues for the race lead, but it's a little bit different this time around. Henry Cowloff has scored as your top man on the board. However, that's because he has not gone down to pit road to this point. Pass the lead is expected in the coming moments as now Daniel Mosteller is here. Gap between first and second is about a quarter, and now up to the high side. There goes Cowloff in the 63. New race leader, welcome back, Daniel Mosteller in the number 87. Demos now is about an 1/8 of a second advantage over Aiden Walker, and there you go, Henry Cowloff bails up top. He'll decide to go down to pit road subsequently, and the 87 team holds the race advantage once again, 25 laps in, out of 40. More than halfway in all honesty, we're coming down to the final stretch, and so far it has been clean and green. As a result of various retirements in this race, Chase Schaefer finds himself up to 16th so far, with potential to go as high as 15th as it stands. Now, keep in mind, after lap number 30, if anyone else decides to retire, they will not be passed by Schaefer. Chase instead is just taking the final spots on the course bottom end of the totem pole, and as he comes through lap after lap, as long as drivers are still in it by lap 30, they will not be put 11 laps down, and so Chase Schaefer will not be able to pass them. Nevertheless, Chase has put up a good effort, finding himself only on the up and up so far with the fastest lap on the day. Started in the 19th spot and now has gotten himself up to 16th, and while that might sound like a very small net gain, given the fact he's come from a 10-lap deficit to make these gains, rather impressive that Chase has been able to stick with us so far to make it all work out. He has himself about 16 laps to go to keep on making moves, and more than one position is guaranteed to him right now. Perhaps there's a little bit of time and just enough time for Chase to continue his rapid ascent up the ladder. Now you've got race leader Daniel Mosteller about a second up on Aiden Walker, but from Aiden Walker on back, the gaps are even bigger. Third place is Jim Thurston, and he's going to be behind now by 7.2 seconds. A massive deficit to the leading man up in front, and that's not the gap that we saw when this all got started, when drivers came down to pit road. So for Thurston, unfortunately, strategy call has proven not to be a positive, but instead a major net negative. Maybe a chance to recover that as the laps go on and cut down some time, but right now it looks like Demos is the driver that is running away, and there's very little else that can be said or done about it with how far Thurston is back. With Jim Thurston 7 seconds back, River Page has fallen further. River now finds himself 11 seconds off the race lead, and the gap between lap after lap pit stop times has made a significant difference. Take a look at the last time drivers went down to pit road and their stint time overall. Daniel Mosteller, Aiden Walker have been on their run for 4 laps. For Jim Thurston and River Page, they've been on it for 5 laps. Joseph Armstrong, 3, and then the only other drivers on a 4-lap stint right now inside the top 10. Well, there's 2 pairs. It's going to be Nathan Palawada, Elijah Innes. Henry Cowloff is just ahead of Aaron Schugel and Vincent Wetchy. As it stands, it looks like 4 laps on the run looks to be preferable, but that's only because the top 2 drivers are running that number. Doesn't mean it's the fastest right now, but it looks like balancing that time on and off the track was the most critical factor, and so far, Demos and company have done that the best. Aiden now almost getting within 1 second of race leader Daniel Mosteller, not really having a chance to lunge out there and take the race lead by force. However, keeping himself in touch has still proven to be especially important. As the driver of the number 93 gets closer and closer once again, very few opportunities for the drivers, such as Aiden Walker and Demos, to make mistakes up and in front. Because if they make a mistake, sooner or later you might see some contact, and when push comes to shove, it becomes even more challenging for, of course, drivers to succeed. As it stands, drivers' success has come from clean green racing, and unlike Watkins Glen last time we went road course racing where we had significant troubles in keeping it clean, tonight's been the exact opposite. It has been smooth sailing ever since the jump, and as such, the number 93 crew, well, they've been able to hold on a second without interruption. Same goes for Daniel Mosteller. He's been up there fighting as the leading man since the race got started. Took the lead in turn 1, and he is gone from there. As a result, Demos Demos is going to be able to wrap up his third win, and this might in effect put him up to second in the championship ahead of Jim Thurston and River Page. The only setback is that the man who's leading the championship is right behind him. Second place, Aiden Walker. He is there, and right now he finds himself, at the very least, he's going to hold on for a firm second place. Maybe a little bit more, he'll be able to get up to the race lead, but that would take Daniel Mosteller making a mistake, and error is never guaranteed out of the 87 team, and as a result, Aiden Walker has little choice right now but to continue doing his best, and he'll have to worry a little bit less about what's going on ahead of him, for there is no guarantee in what's going on up in front. For Aiden Walker, run your race, and that's advice drivers commonly get. You can't predict or expect anything out of the drivers who run ahead of you or surrounding you. But every time, every lap that you go throughout this venue, here in the Oschersleben or anywhere else, the driver dictates their destiny. Now Aiden Walker's done a pretty good job of keeping himself within sight range over the last 4 laps, though he has been losing time. And you can see he lost a significant amount between laps 24 and 25, 26 and 27, a little bit more of the same, but nothing all too significant when it comes to that massive deficit largely established based on the strategy calls beforehand. And of course right now Aiden Walker just finds himself with the advantage. Most drivers a disadvantage compared to Demos. Maybe it's the pace, maybe it is the strategy calls made beforehand, but for Aiden Walker it has not been easy. He's had a good race, has been solidly the second best man all night long, but the second best does not collect the checkered flag. Joseph Armstrong has gotten just beyond the number 24 of River Page. Now he finds himself scored in 4th and is coming up on Aaron Schugel once again. Joe Armstrong might actually be getting a little bit closer to the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport driver of Jim Thurston. Perhaps there's a shot right now for Armstrong to get up and ahead of the 96, something we have not seen all night long. Armstrong inside of the podium. His last IORA Cup Series victory coming in Season 3 in New Hampshire. Ever since that point, Armstrong has been close but has not yet gotten the job done. Perhaps there's an opportunity once again for Armstrong to find victory lane. It still has not come to pass, but the number 22 team has done an exemplary job of just remaining in the fight whenever he shows up. Not a full-time driver. We have not seen him full-time in several seasons, but Joseph Armstrong comes and goes and gets exciting victories either way. You might remember Season 2, Laguna Seca. It was a battle that went down to the final lap between he and Daniel Mosteller. Armstrong eventually was the man who led the way at the very end. And of course, Joe got the job done collecting the checkered flag at New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, in early 2023. Since that point, though, he's been a little bit of a victory drought, and while the checkered flag has eluded him, it has not been by wide margins. Instead, Armstrong has found himself sometimes within tenths of a second of grabbing that victory, and the question becomes, can he even get up to the podium places right now? He's one of the biggest movers on the day so far, and just to reflect, he's been as low as 16th and started in 6th, so Joe Armstrong has been around the circuit all throughout the night, and he understands it's not an easy race to continue moving up the ladder, especially given the fact it's a new road course above all else. Of the drivers who started inside the top 10, only one of which has fallen out. 10th place, the starters in 11th. Aaron Schugel right now is 11th up to 10th, but that's where we see track position has been the big dictator of success. Anyone who started inside the top 9 positions is still inside of the top 9 positions. Consistency is key, and in a road course, we really can't say that or stress that enough, and it proves to be the case once again. For Daniel Mosteller, he has been unbelievably consistent since the drop of the green flag. That's why he's up in front, and that's why Aiden Walker has only been a second and a half off him over the course of 30 laps ran under green. Great to see the IORA Cup Series getting back to green flag racing without a yellow flag period in between. And it's, of course, exciting to see what happens now, as we might have a natural battle for the race victory in the coming laps. Most of the fighting done today has been with strategy calls and the like, but instead, we might see Aiden Walker still get up there. He's within about a tenth a second and a tenth. If he can just really lunge into those corners each and every time. The deficits in distance haven't been all too substantial across drivers if they can keep each other close within the same bubble of air. It's tricky, of course, to figure out what goes on for drivers when it comes to clean air and dirty air on a road course. It's not like the ovals where the draft and the like are substantial and mean an awful lot. It's really quite the opposite. Dirty air might not help you, but it also can't necessarily hurt you. You don't have to deal with the forces of the banking and the like. And now Daniel Mosteller dealing with some trouble. Jim Thurston looking back, but Demos just got by Corey Lyles, and only for Aiden Walker now to see Lyles parked in the apex of the corner once again. Luckily, both drivers get away. However, the gap has diminished to under 1 second for the first time in this stint ever since the drivers went down to pit road. Take a look at this now. We have a total of 10 laps to go, and when we come across the line again, it will be only 9. We're going beyond the confines of the single digits. Welcome to the tail end of this race. The checkered flag comes soon. 10 laps to go in Germany. Daniel Mosteller is still the man who finds himself on top. Furthermore, it looks like Chase Schaefer going to find himself 11 laps down, and he's going to find himself now up to 15. So yes, Chase Schaefer gets another position. However, with all the drivers running here at lap number 31, it means that he will not be able to take any other position on the day. It's unfortunate for Schaefer, but at the same time, he made the best of the circumstances, which he could not control. And that is a crucial thing, not only when it comes to the success of the outcome, but also the mentality. And for Chase Schaefer, he's a driver who's already found success this year with 2 consecutive wins. He is one of the best drivers on the campaign, and he's been so historically as well. So tonight, it's not an off day necessarily, but it is not a killer to be imperfect, to have a bad day. And for Chase Schaefer, we know how quick he is. He set the fastest time of the race. Just looks like he's not going to be able to match those efforts of speed with a perfect result. That's the unfortunate part, but with 9 laps to go, I think right now Chase Schaefer has put himself beyond that point of caring. He's going to think a little bit more about what's up next on the table, and that is going to be the next race at the Talladega Superspeedway. And Talladega is such a lottery. There's really no other way to put it. You can't expect anything out of Talladega that you haven't seen before, but at the same time, you can't expect anything from Talladega straight up. It's an unpredictably predictable circuit. You can expect a flip, you can expect a major wreck, you can expect the spinning and sliding back and forth. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to see something chaotic, which is the opposite of road course racing. It's a big track here, and it's not an easy track to win at, but it's a different challenge compared to something like a super speedway venue. It's a different skill set. It does take a certain driver to be consistently good at Talladega. It takes a certain driver to be consistently good at a road course, and right now, that's what we're seeing. The differences between drivers, driver types, and driver styles, and Daniel Mosteller is really coming to like this road course thing. Although we once knew him as a bit of a super speedway ace, he has become increasingly versatile, and win number 3 might just be on the horizon the way things are looking. 8 laps to go, and time is ticking down. Jim Thurston is going to find himself right now in 3rd, and just ahead of him is still Joe Armstrong, number 96 and number 22 respectively. Well, it looks like now Armstrong has gotten even closer. Gap is going to be 0.4 of a second between these two, and while they don't have any chance or prospect of getting up to second place Aiden Walker, a podium spot is valuable nonetheless. Thurston, for the first time, is going to leave the door open. Joe Armstrong instead decides to head down to the bottom, and when he does so, it looks like he just gives up a little bit of momentum. Not enough to make the pass, and so having to reset once again. This is the question which lies in those last moment passes, those do-or-die passes that are necessary to make those final gains. When should you make them? Is it beneficial to make them early, or should you wait until the last lap or the last 2 laps? I think right now both these drivers are weighing that predicament in their heads, and while Joe Armstrong has definitely gotten close to laying the chrome horn, I don't think he's interested in doing anything dirty to win this race. Both Thurston and Armstrong have raced each other before, have done so without incident, and they keep each other close without any other problems. 87 to Daniel Mosteller, now leading Aiden Walker by 6.5 tenths. Gap is diminished once again to its all-time closest Aiden Walker wants to win bad, and the last time he got a victory was all the way back in Season 3. That's the last time we went international for those who weren't watching with us. Now, Aiden Walker has a chance to seal the deal, but he's got to get up to Daniel Mosteller first if he wants to prove it. Only 7 laps remain now as we get into the final laps of tonight's event. The Daniel Mosteller team, 87 in all, have been overall the strongest campaign when it comes to the raw speed. While Aiden Walker does have the points advantage, he has not yet been able to get to race victory. And while that doesn't mean he's going to be excluded from victories in the future, he just hasn't gotten there to this point. There's a lot of time for that to change and a lot of time for the 93 to continue improving. But what improving can you do when you're already the points leader? A second place finish for Walker will neutralize the effect of a Daniel Mosteller win. Demos will jump up from 3rd to 2nd in the championship by default, but Aiden Walker with himself having a currently just about 15-point lead over Daniel Mosteller won't have to worry. He'll be able to keep his points gap, and it will be slight, just enough though to come into Talladega with the regular season points lead on the line. He might have a chance to secure the regular season championship in Alabama, but for Aiden Walker, if he gets that one position, he would be able to win the regular season championship today. 6 laps to go. Daniel Mosteller still holds forward as we come to lap number 35 now. But it's not going to be easy. Aiden Walker has gotten considerably closer. And now as these two race rivals continue to go at each other, a few more battles persist on the circuit. Jason Cimento and Henry Kaloff might go at each other up next. That will be the battle for P8 when we come to it. Henry Kaloff has gotten a little bit further up the top 10. His teammate Michael Deitch is now going to be in 14th. 5 laps down from Michael Deitch currently, and lead lap category still Henry Kaloff barely finds himself in. Jason Cimento also going to be a lead lapper. He's in 9th and looks like he's going to get himself another top 10 finish. But a solid campaign for the rookie. Nothing all too astounding or impressive necessarily, but Henry Kaloff is fighting with them, and both of which are putting up a respectable effort. Nothing all too crazy when it comes to the race result tonight. A commendable top 10 finish, but it won't be anything to really keep much an eye on. Talladega might be a good one for Henry Kaloff, and he's won on FTN before with that track car combination. Victory at Talladega with the Xfinity cars SNT in the Truck Series. However, that was its truck iteration. He knows what it's like, though, to win with the Xfinity cars at that venue. He might be a solid contender to watch out for. Henry Kaloff knows what it takes to win in Alabama, and it might be his ticket puncher to a higher-up round in the playoff picture. Right now, top 20 drivers are going to be spread out by about 115 points in the championship picture. So far, Alexander Balderas is the lowest race winner in points. He finds himself with 232 in 13th. He'll drop back a little bit further by virtue of not being here tonight. And when it comes to the top 10, Aaron Schugel is the last man in with 248 points. Notable absences include Jacob Wilkerson and also Beaver Serrano. You don't see tonight on the circuit Brendan Dugan, nor Sean Rowe, Hunter Bogdan, or Michael Mitchum. Mitchum is 20th in the championship so far with the victory. However, once again, not making tonight. He has not made enough races to sufficiently participate in the IORA Championship unless given an exemption, which I don't believe he will be given one. He's not here tonight, and you never know about Talladega. Very slim to none opportunity for Mike Mitchum to make it into the playoffs. However well he's run this season. 4 laps to go, 1.1 seconds between Aiden Walker and Daniel Mosteller. Demos, the man with the advantage even still, and the battle remains raging between Jason Cimento and Henry Kaloff. Jason is still going to be just behind, and it looks like right now that hasn't changed, and it doesn't look like it'll change without a Henry Kaloff mistake, one that has been rather hard to find. Meanwhile, Joseph Armstrong is ahead now of River Page. Armstrong to P3, just ahead of the 96 crew. Perhaps this battle holds a little bit more weight than the one we were just focusing on. Thurston and Armstrong battling for a top 3 position, course, relatively speaking, further back for Kaloff and Jason Semetto. This, I think it means a little bit more for Jim Thurston as well. He's in a fierce points battle with River Page, trying to get himself up firmly into the top 3 in the point standings before we go to our playoff picture. And if he's able to finish ahead of Joe Armstrong, Thurston will have the elevated position in the points coming into Talladega over River Page. So for Jim Thurston, he has a chance to secure P3 in the championship picture if, of course, he comes away with a podium tonight. Joseph Armstrong has just taken that away from him, but it doesn't mean it'll be his forever. 4 laps to go. Many a thing will change if these drivers come to blows again. River Page is still watching on, but there's not much he can do. Doesn't have a great seat in the house. He's not the closest member of the audience. However, he can definitely see what's going on between both Jim Thurston and Aiden Walker alike. Sometimes, maybe across the circuit, but he definitely has a better look at right now Armstrong and Jim Thurston. It's becoming abundantly clear Armstrong has made out with a spot. Jim Thurston, not so much. As a matter of fact, he's falling in reverse and now pulls himself even further behind. And Henry Kaloff and Jason Semetto are again the closest drivers in the field. 10 drivers on the lead lap, that's how it used to be. No longer the case. 9 drivers on the lead lap. Chase Schaefer bowed out in 15th. He knew that was the last spot he was going to get, and it looks like he's going to save the energy and park it, taking a top 15 finish after starting 10 laps down. Schaefer with that is also going to get that fast lap bonus we mentioned. Daniel Mosteller up at the front of the field talking about his fastest laps on the day. Quick time, a 1:37.37 though. He does have that over Chase Schaefer, and initially it looked like Schaefer had the edge. Daniel Mosteller has been able to pull through nevertheless. Now you talk about that number 87 and that quick time. That was not recorded in qualifying. Just to clarify, no driver recorded a 1:31 or sub 1:31 in our qualifying picture. However, Daniel Mosteller has broken through. Timing and scoring shows now the 87 does have that bonus point Chase Schaefer previously did. That is no longer the case. Demos might be able to come away with the victory here. Only 2 laps separate him from the checkered flag in the Oschersleben Grand Prix. He and Aiden Walker look to be the title contenders this season to look out for. Both of them veterans, both have experience flirting with the championship before, and Demos is the most accredited driver to ever do it in IORA. 2 championships already, 2 wins this season. And who's to say he can't go back to victory lane tonight, as he only has now 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks. It's now time to wave those final 2 fingers in the air. Now it is going to be your final 2 circuits. 28 turns. That's the difference between Daniel Mosteller and victory lane tonight. Henry Kaloff and Jason Semetto continue to keep each other good company. As it stands, it looks like Kaloff still has the advantage, but Jason Semetto really has not let the number 63 go. Matter of fact, while it might look like a little bit of a further distance than advertised on the ticker, they're within the same second each and every time by, and that's an interesting thing to see. They're really lockstep. Jason Semetto has not been able to gain it all, and Henry Kaloff has not lost a bit. So it's problematic, of course, what's going on for Henry Kaloff. He finds himself maybe not in the best spot to gain. If he makes a mistake, he might end up not only losing time immediately, but won't have the time to push back to get to Jason Semetto, which means right now he has to be effectively perfect at hitting his marks consistently. Not trying to go into the gravel, although Henry Kaloff getting rather close there. He's coming now to his 2 to go signal, barely on the lead lap here, 66 seconds back on your race leader, and Henry Kaloff has made it, as has Jason Semetto. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by, and now we're going to come across for the white flag with your leaders making their way in. Daniel Mosteller having a firm advantage now over Aiden Walker. What was within a second has become more than a second and a half. 1 lap to go. White flag waving now for the 87 of Daniel Mosteller. Final lap here in Oschersleben. Demos looking for win number 3 in the championship lead. Aiden Walker will still try to retain it, but it'll be head-to-head coming into Alabama. 14 more turns, 2.3 miles are left on the table, and this is it. Armstrong and Jim Thurston will continue to battle one another, but it's really less a battle now and more a walk away. Joe Armstrong looks to have it made, and so long as he comes around that final circuit in one piece, I think he'll be the driver, of course, that gets the job done and wins this fight to stay on the podium. Daniel Mosteller sees Braxton Whitaker up and ahead. Looks like he's going to let the leaders through. That's a lap machine, the 51 is. All the while, Joe Armstrong is going to come up and have some clean air in this third place fight. Not much a fight any longer, which leaves Daniel Mosteller with little else to focus on but the clean circuit. And for the 87 team, this is a major victory in the fight for the regular season title. Daniel's already gotten himself 2 wins, but a victory has eluded him ever since the first 3 weeks of the campaign. While he's found himself on podium multiple times before, Demos just hasn't been able to crack it at a road course this season. He did so last in the Charlotte Roval, but it takes a brand new track to bring out the best in the 87. Daniel Mosteller, he did not collect the pole position, but in turn 1, he lunged for the lead, and he took it away. 40 laps later, it looks like the story remains exactly the same, and the leader is still the number 87. Leader turns winner as Daniel Mosteller crosses the checkered flag, winner in the Oschersleben Grand Prix, and a 3rd victory on the campaign. 31 laps led on the day. Daniel Mosteller will beat Aiden Walker, and further on back, Joseph Armstrong to wrap up the podium here tonight. Final battle continues. Jason Semedo and Henry Kaloff take a look on board now, but Semedo, let's see what he can do. Maybe in a last-ditch effort to get up to Kaloff here. And if anything, it's going to take a massive set now to the final corners in the last sectors. Henry Kaloff still holds the advantage, gets a little bit loose, but you can see that track position is all he needs to hang tight. And so it looks like your lead lap results have been verified. Coming out of the final corner, turn 14, Jason Semedo will fall to Henry Kaloff, and Daniel Mosteller, as mentioned, is your race winner. Demos wins from Aiden Walker in 2nd and Joe Armstrong in 3rd place, his first podium of the season. Jim Thurston 4th and River Page P5. Nathan Palawada will be 6th with Elijah in his 7th. 8th place in Henry Kaloff and Jason Semedo there in 9th. Vincent Guecci 1 lap down in 10th. It'll then be 11th place Aaron Schugel. 12th and Braxton Whitaker 2 laps down, as is Corey Lyles in 13th, with Michael Deitch, the final man to finish, in 14th. Chase Schaefer, Akari King, Xander McKinney, Andres Varas, Will Shack, retirees that started, and looks like Jaque Carter, 20th and last of those who registered. Jaque did not start. Nevertheless, 87 to Daniel Mosteller gets to burn down the house, winner again, and this time he gets the job done at the twists and turns in the Oschersleben. And it looks like the motor blowing there for Daniel Mosteller. Fortunately, I think that celebration will have to come to an end. Demos, the engine sputtering, and he'll go until it breaks. And it looks like the car just let go on him. Nevertheless, Daniel Mosteller is a winner once again. Huge win for his championship fight. And so we move on to Talladega, the final race in the regular season. The 87, a winner once more. Let's get a word now with your top 3 finishers. Daniel Mosteller, the first of which, and it'll be Demos, Aiden Walker, and Joseph Armstrong. 1, 2, 3 on the day. Let's check it out now with Daniel Mosteller, your race winner. Speak to him as it stands. A race winner for the 3rd time this season. 31 laps led on the day and a dominant performance overseas. Huge win as we're looking ahead to the playoffs here, and it puts you right within the striking distance of the regular season championship. Demos, welcome back to Victory Lane, and you do it again, this time overseas.
How about that? I was not expecting that coming into this race. That was pretty awesome.
And a great race for you. And it all started with that first turn where you sent it down the inside and took the race lead. And you looked especially confident from there. Could you walk us through first the opening portion where that risky move made a huge positive difference?
Yeah, I think the start was ultimately what won me the race. I felt like I had better long run pace than both Thurston and Walker, and I got two and one there at the start. I'm pretty psyched about that move. That was a pretty awesome move. Thurston got back by me. I made a little mistake, but I knew I had the long run pace. That's kind of my strength, is just bringing the tires in and not being too hard on them. And I got back by him, and it was just about managing my gap, and just trying to make the most lap time I could without really overheating my stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what ultimately won me the race. Is I was able to just stay consistent, just do my own thing. And I think Walker, he started to overheat his stuff up a little bit, trying to get to me, and ultimately he slipped up. He had a few mistakes, and I was able to cruise to victory.
And just a few mistakes, they were made right behind you. You stayed rather consistent, even though tire wear was big tonight. So how was it for you to even keep the car in good pace, even though the tires seemed to be squealing all night long?
Yeah, the tire wear, there was a good 2 to 3 seconds of fall off, and that's pretty awesome. I really enjoy the higher tire wear races. It rewards definitely the good drivers being able to keep the stuff underneath you and being able to maximize it when the opportunity allows to. And yeah, I'm really good at being able to keep the rear tires on it, not really make or not really get a lot of wheel spin. That's my strong point. If you remember the Roval last season, I was able to maximize lap time after I got wrecked on a restart, and I charged up through the whole field on a green flag run and won the race. Um, just being able to put it together and not overstep my boundaries is yeah, what won me the race. And yeah.
And it looks like tonight, victory coming when it means an awful lot. Regular season championship will now come down in large part between you and Aiden Walker as we head to Talladega. Unpredictable as always. How do you feel about ending our regular season on Halloween night?
Yeah, spooky 123. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Got the win. I got the win at Daytona, and I was in position to win Atlanta, so I definitely feel like um, I'm the favorite or one of the favorites heading into Talladega, and we've got some good momentum at the right time before the playoffs. It's been a pretty rough stretch the past couple races. I've had the speed, just haven't had the results, both through mistakes of my own and just getting caught up in other people's messes. So the win, it's awesome, and first caution-free race in IORA history. That's pretty awesome to win that and show who's the best on road courses.
And major consistency to make it through without any breaks in between. No rest and a huge checkered flag performance, Daniel Mosteller. Any final thoughts you'd like to give out?
Yeah, shout out to all the drivers. Really fun race, really clean race. Not a lot of incidents. It's pretty awesome. Shout out to you for broadcasting as always. Mason for off tracking and running the league. He does an awesome job. Excited to get the win, and we'll head on to Talladega for the spooky 123.
And good reason to be confident. Daniel Mosteller back in victory lane for the third time this season, collecting the checkered flag in the Oschersleben. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And so, Demos back on the way. Let's talk to your second place man, Aiden Walker. Once again, he finds himself on the podium, and tonight, he's there on the middle step. And you had good reason, as we spoke to you last week, Aiden, to be confident. Another great performance, just shy of the checkered flag. How's it feel, of course, getting yourself a podium to maintain your points lead?
Well, first of all, just happy we actually got a fully green race for once. So, yeah, pretty much just was trying to just keep the tires from not lighting up by, spinning the tires a lot. No, at that final few laps out, he was just throwing it all at Demos, but didn't have really a chance there. So, it was overall a really good race. Kept it out of trouble, which is what I've been trying to do all season. That's put me in the points lead at this point. Hopefully we still have the same kind of luck when we go into the playoffs in 2 weeks, but very happy with the run.
And we talk about the success for you to stay up here in the leading fight, but there's also one thing else that went with it. Those last stint moments. Looks like you fell back maybe just a little bit at the tail end, and I would like to ask, did that come in large part due to the tires, or was something else dragging you down?
I think it was just me just pushing way too hard and just the tires also because I was just trying to catch up to Demos, especially when he was getting up to those lap cars. I was really trying to push up to him, and then just by the end of the run, I was just trying to just claw at it, and yeah, didn't grip up at some points. So yeah.
Well, nevertheless, Daniel Marceller just told us this, and I'm pretty sure you noticed as well. Fully caution-free race. We have not seen that beforehand at any of these road circuits. How did it feel with no breaks in between to pull through for 40 straight laps? Something we have not yet seen.
Well, it felt a lot. It just felt kind of refreshing because every race this season has kind of had just like a weird race overall, where we have a bunch of wrecks early on, and center of the race is clean, and then we have a caution with like 10 to go, and that causes the entire field to just lose themselves. So it was really refreshing to actually have a pretty clean race.
Great to see clean. Just 1 week away now from the regular season finale. You and Demos, prime competitors to clinch the regular season championship in Talladega. How do you feel about heading back to our third plate track?
I feel pretty good. Hopefully we can may not get involved in any wrecks, which is kind of hard to control, especially at Talladega, especially in the new pushing model that just came out with the car, which we've only seen at Atlanta. Most of these people haven't tried it yet, so um, yeah, hopefully we can keep this momentum up into the playoffs and things.
And a big build up to our final race of the regular season. Aiden Walker, another podium here as our championship.
Wait, hold up. Subscribe to FTN Broadcasting.
Well, we were just about to get there. We weren't done.
Seemed like you were ending the interview.
No, you had one last chance to talk. And now is that chance, Aiden.
Well, I first gotta thank my sponsors, Lively's Custom Diecast, Cogdell Motor Company, Blue Line Tennessee, SKS Motorsports. Go follow them on Twitter. I guess I'll shout out my photography account on Instagram and Twitter also. Aiden Walker Photography. Go follow it on Twitter, or else I will find you. And subscribe to FTN Broadcasting.
Well, thank you again, Aiden Walker, second place and pulling through, starting and finishing in the runner-up spot here in the Oschersleben Grand Prix. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you.
Now, with Aiden Walker on the way, unfortunately, it does not look like Joseph Armstrong is available for comment. Armstrong pulling away for his first podium of the season. Started in 6th, finished in 3rd, and he went up and down the track as low as 18th on the day. Armstrong, he saw it all and ends up coming away with another podium finish. Great to have Joseph Armstrong return, putting in a successful venture. Aiden Walker, he's there in 2nd place as well. And Daniel Mosteller, race winner here tonight, his 3rd win of the season. Checkered flag falls in the Oschersleben Grand Prix, and now only 1 race remains. Championship picture is tightening up even further, and this is when it comes down to one final showdown. Walker and Daniel Mosteller will battle for the regular season title next week in Talladega for 213 miles. Stay tuned live on FTN to up-to-date coverage, of course, of not only the IORA Cup Series, but all the sim racing we cover throughout the week. You've been watching from the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben and the IORA Cup Series 6th race. No, the 9th race. It's the first ever international race of the year and the 9th race overall on the campaign. Great, of course, to be back here overseas in Germany. From the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, I've been your host and commentator, David Kreutz, producing the action as well along the way. If you've enjoyed, leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Ensure that you subscribe and check out the links in our description or scan the QR code on your screen to stay up to date with the FTN broadcasting community with free information on how to register in the IORA Cup Series and any broadcasting league, of course, covered on this platform. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll be back at 9:30 p.m. Eastern for coverage of the Highline Racing League, and we hope to see you there as well. Thank you for tuning in. You've been watching FTN Broadcasting from the Oschersleben Grand Prix. We hope you have a wonderful night.